Hi, this is Cassandra, Dr. K. Brown, the Tilted Fedora Trainer. And today on Talk to Tuesday Conversation, I have the exciting honor of introducing to some and presenting to others my good friend from the Power Voice community, Irma Matos. For some reason, Irma, I always want to call you Torres, and I know it's not Torres. So I have to slow down and make myself remember that it's Irma Matos. Irma has a really, really interesting, compelling story for how she came to America. She's got some wonderful projects going on now, and I'm just excited to get to introduce Irma to everybody else in my crew. Irma?
Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you for that introduction.
You're welcome. Listen, I am excited to hear about your story. And I want to start with how you actually came to America. We talked about that once before. Do you mind just recounting it and giving our followers just a few details?
Sure. I was born in Cuba. I came to this country in 1970, and I had to learn English and study and work. And so I came when I was 14 years old. I'm turning 65 next month.
Wow.
During all of the time that I've been here, I had several businesses, and I finally created a property management business where I worked 33 years of my life. My sister is running it now. So now I'm a consultant for her and her clients, which are my previous clients. And that's what I'm doing. I'm also doing some other things, including writing a book. And I think probably Cassandra wants me to talk a little bit about the very beginning when I first got here.
We'll get to the book. I want to kind of take them on your journey, because we discussed some serious hardships that you experienced, some things that most Americans don't go through, but a lot of people who immigrate here because they do live with other family members experience. And there's some challenges with that.
When I came in 1970, there was no return. Once you left the country, there was no return. And I was raised by my grandparents on my father's side, and I came here with my mother and her side of the family. So even though I saw my mother and her side of the family every day, it was rough getting used to them living in the same house. But at the beginning, when we first got here, we were received by my godmother and her family. So it was her husband, and 4 little children. And they lived in an efficiency, which is less. It's smaller than a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
And there were 6 of us who came over, so there were 12 people in this efficiency. So at night it was rough because there were mattresses all over the floor. And if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to jump over a lot of people. So
wow.
Luckily, we were only in that situation for 9 days because a friend of my mother's who had come 6 months before had saved a little money. She was working and she had saved a little money. And she said to my mother, "You can't stay here. I'm going to loan you the money I have saved, and you go and rent yourself an apartment and just pay me when you start working, and don't worry about it." So that was great. And so we got started.
I cannot imagine living in a house that small. For anybody who's younger who watches this, and you really don't find a lot of efficiencies anymore. And efficiency would be like living in a hotel suite, but it's all one big room. So you've got a little kitchen area, you've got your bathroom, and that's probably the only separate room, and it's just separate because you have a door.
Right.
But literally your kitchen area, your bathroom area, your bedroom, your living room, your dining space, everything is just one big room.
Exactly.
And a lot of times about the size of a 2-car garage. If you got a really big one, it might be 2.5 cars, but typically a 2-car garage. So we're not talking a lot of space here.
Exactly.
And we're talking 8 kids and 4 adults.
Well, it was 4 little kids, 2 teenagers, and 6 adults.
6 adults. Wow.
And something I wanted to mention is that when I came over, I was so upset that I wasn't going to be able to return to see my grandparents and my friends and other family members that were left behind, that I vomited the whole time that I was at the airport waiting to leave. We had to spend the night at the airport to leave the next morning. And so that night, they took me and my aunt to the clinic so that I could get an IV because I was dehydrated.
Mm.
And that IV, there was no place to hang it. So they had to hang it on a mop.
Wow.
And my aunt had to hold it. So that's what communism does for you.
Wow.
And I
Now
don't
you
want to.
just
And I don't
wanted,
want to. I don't want to get into politics.
wow, you really brought in something interesting just with coming from a communist, and we won't get into the politics of it, but I do want to get into the distinctions in the freedoms coming from a communist area to a capitalistic area. And a lot of people don't like capitalism, and there are some people who are even pushing because they think communism may be better. Just
Absolutely not.
describe the freedoms. Just describe the distinctions in the freedoms.
Well, you have no freedom in a communist country. And once you get here, it's like, wow, this is like living, you know, you're free to do anything you want. Uh, the harder you work, the more you get accomplished.
Mm.
In a communist country, the government takes care of everything. And so people have no incentive to do anything. And they're usually very sad people. And you can't deprive people of their incentive to live, because
Mm.
then nothing happens. You know, you have no incentive to invent anything or do anything or improve anything because there's nothing to do.
Wow. So that's an incentive to live. I love that. That is a that now see if you write a book about your life story, an incentive to live is a great title. Because that's what you've gone from being, you know, no incentive to here you literally can write your own ticket if you're willing to do the work.
Exactly.
And it's evident that you were willing to do the work. Talk to me about now, you said you had to learn English when you got here.
Yes.
Talk to me about those days in school.
I'm sorry.
Talk to us about those days in school
In
as you
school,
go to a fully English speaking system, but you only speak Spanish.
when I came, I was in the ninth grade in Cuba, and when I came in April, so they put me back to the seventh grade. So I had to, because it was April, it was close to the end of the school year. So
Mm.
I had to finish seventh, do eighth all over again, and then go on to ninth. And during that time, I was learning English. You know, in junior high, I came to junior high, and now it's called middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there, and I had a great teacher, Mrs. Bergman.
Mm-hmm.
She was great. She was Cuban, uh, but was married to an American, so that's why the last name Bergman. And she was
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. And I learned English, but then I went to high school, and I understood everything, but I wouldn't speak it because I was afraid I would get stuck in the middle of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really holding myself back
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah. Fear
And so
does that.
when I met my drama teacher, which was my mentor, my angel, my friend, we had a wonderful friendship all until the day she died. And she went into my English class one time in high school. She was recruiting people for her students for her drama program. And I was sitting there in my English class, and she walks in and she starts talking about all the things that they do in drama and the theater and all this stuff. And I could feel my eyes glowing,
Mm.
just shining. You know, I was looking at her and I was like, wow. And then she tells me, I want you. And I look back to see if there was somebody behind me, but there was nobody behind me. So I said, who, me? She goes, yes, you. And so I said, okay. And that program was in the summer of 1974. That summer was a wonderful summer. They had a program that summer for kids from different schools, not just the school that I was attending, but different schools in Dade County, in Miami-Dade County. So I met kids from other schools, and also the set designer and art director of the Miami-Dade Community College was also part of that program for that summer. So we learned drama, we learned theater, we learned set building, set painting. We learned a lot of things during that summer. That was a wonderful summer. And then 1975 was my senior year. So I did 1 year of drama there. And well, after that, I went to college. I studied drama and art, but I never worked professionally in art or drama.
There are a lot of us who can identify with you on that one, where we go to college and do one thing and study one thing, and then in life we do something completely different. Let me take you back to the high school and to that summer where you had all those other children showing up. Did you meet any other children from Cuba or any other children who were immigrants? What was that?
Yes. Oh, yes. I still have friends from junior high that I talk to that help me out because they have been here like a year or two ahead of me, before me. And so they already spoke English, so they helped me out. And we still see each other every once in a while and we talk. And the one thing that the drama workshop did for me and my teacher is that I started to speak English. I lost that fear. So, because I felt at home.
Yeah, it's amazing. One significant person, you've heard the phrase, one person can change your whole world. They can literally change your whole life. And I think it would be great if more of us, people, period, would work to be that individual who changes one person's life, because you never know who that person is going to become. But just having that kind of an impact is so significant. This teacher, now what is this teacher's name, the drama teacher's name?
At the time it was Jean Muscanera.
Miss Muscanera.
Miss Muscanera, right? But nobody called her that. Everybody called her Muskie, for short. That was her nickname, Muskie. And then towards the end of her life, she remarried, and then her name became Jean P. Turner.
She went from a really difficult name to a real simple one.
Jean P.
Now, did people keep calling her Muskie even though she had married Mr. Turner?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, no, Muskie stayed. Muskie stayed. I mean.
Well, I just love the fact that she had such an impact on you. And that impact has been literally lifelong, because you still talk favorably about this woman today. And the memories are just as fresh as the day that you actually had the experience.
Absolutely.
And I love that. I love that. Now, tell us about the project that you're working on. Well, actually, I want to go back. When did you get to go back to Cuba before I hit the project?
Okay.
When did you finally get to go back and visit your homeland?
I went back in 1979. That was the first time I went back, because Fidel Castro decided that it was okay for those of us who had left, that it was okay for those of us to return. And that was in 1979. Up to that point, nobody could return. So my mother and I went over to see my grandparents because they were ill. My grandmother died 3 months later, and my grandfather died a year later. So I was very happy that I was able to see them before they passed away.
Yeah. By this time, it's been you've been in America for 9 years.
Correct. I already spoke English. By that time, I was 23 years old. By the time I went back. And
that's what I wanted to ask you about. When you said you were already in the 9th grade in Cuba, but you came here and they put you in the 7th grade. So were you actually physically older than the other kids in the 7th grade?
Yes.
So that had to have caused some trauma as well.
Well, in my high school class, everybody's at least 6 months younger than me to a year. But I had to get through it.
Okay. Well, sometimes it can be really, really cruel.
Couldn't do anything about it. I wasn't happy, but I couldn't do anything about it. So.
Yeah.
And the second time I went back, it was in 2007 because my sister from my father's side, from his second marriage, came many years after I did. And she,
All right. Sorry
and
about that.
her mom was ill, and I went back with her so that she wouldn't go alone. Plus, I had cousins that I hadn't seen in years and years, and so that's the second time I went because of illnesses in the family, and that's it.
So you haven't been back since that time?
No,
Wow. So
no,
America truly is your home now.
it is. I've been here 50 years, and the reason I'm here is still over there. Even though one of them died, the other one's there, brother.
Yeah.
So I don't go there.
Yeah. I can understand that. I can understand that. Now, let's move to your current projects. What are you working on?
I'm working on a book that honors and pays homage to teachers.
Mm,
I think teaching is a very honorable profession. It's a very noble profession.
mm-hmm.
And if you are lucky enough to have a good teacher in your life, if you have more, that's great. But if you're lucky enough to have one good teacher in your life, I think that you're blessed,
Wow.
because teachers can make or break. You know, they can make you or break you. I mean, they can encourage you and teach you to be successful, or they can say the wrong thing
Mm,
and
yeah.
you know,
It really,
lead
it
you
really,
a different way. And so I am very lucky. I'm very lucky and blessed that I've had real good teachers in my life, and I've been thinking a lot about that lately.
mhm.
She wrote a book and about her life, and her life. She helped a lot of students.
Yeah, this is Muskie, right?
Husky, yes, yes. She helped a lot of students, and I'm trying to see if I can get that book republished. I'm working on that to see if I can get that republished. And also, since I've been working on that, she one of her dreams was to make a movie out of the book, because at some point in time in her life, she found out that her parents tried to abort her.
Mm,
And so this book has a pro-life message. And when I think about it, I don't know what my life would have been like if she hadn't been in it,
mm,
because she helped me so much.
wow.
And thinking and trying to get this done, then is when I started to think about writing the book. I said, well, I can write a book. I can talk about all of the life lessons that I have learned that have
Mm,
inspired me. And that has been through my teachers and my faith, through what I've learned through the Emmaus retreat, and through a mission that I've been to Mexico. I'm also a missionary. So
wow.
I've learned so many things that I want to share that. I want to share that with the world. I think
So then you've got two projects going on. You got the project with her book and getting it republished. And then you're in the process of writing your own book that is a tribute to teachers. Am
yes.
I understanding that right?
Well, it honors and pays homage to teachers,
Mm-hmm.
or the teaching profession,
Right.
and life lessons, because you just don't learn the ABCs. You learn a lot of life lessons. And also, teaching isn't just teaching in a classroom. You teach by the way you live, by the way you behave, uh, by the way you conduct yourself. And I think that's important to mention.
Yeah, that is. So the teaching has a holistic effect. because you're talking about it hitting the core of a person's being. You just spoke about the power of the teacher's words and how with those words a teacher can really build a student up and make them literally come to their best, like Muskie did for you. And that same teacher with those a different set of words can really destroy a child's life. That's the impact that we have. And it's not just teachers, it's really anybody. We are
Anybody, yes,
significant individuals.
anybody.
We have what in sales it's called a sphere of influence. And, okay, I didn't see all the lipstick on my teeth. Normally I catch that before I turn on the camera. This time I was rushing. But we have to remember that even when we think we are insignificant, we are significant because our words have power and impact, and our words give lessons. You told me that Muskie, that you learned a lot from Muskie, some significant life lessons. Give me two or three of those.
Well, she used to tell me to listen to what people don't tell you.
Listen to what people don't tell you.
Yeah, that's
So
powerful.
What's not
That's
said
powerful.
is as important as what's said. Talk to me about how did that lesson come over? How did you get that from her?
I spent so much time with her that I can't pinpoint exactly when was the first time she said that, but it stuck with me because it is true. It's true.
Mhm.
Some people will tell you things and you really, they're really telling you something else, and so you need to be like fine-tuned to pick up these messages.
Yeah.
And the other one also that I learned from her was it's not what you say, but the way you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so true.
Yes. Yes.
So
You can deliver the best news in a horrible way and people won't receive it as the best news. Yeah. So the way you say it, the way your voice sounds, your facial expressions, your mannerisms, all of that is taken into account. And all of that is communication.
yes, yeah, and early on in life, since I was in the drama class, one of the things that I learned from her also was when you're gonna bend over, you have to bend your knees because you can hurt your back.
Mm.
And it's so true. It is so true. You got to bend your knees when you go down to the floor to pick something up. You got to bend your knees, and that's something that it's very important in drama, because in drama people fall and people in the middle, in a play, people fall, they fall from different places, or you push people or things like that. So there is a certain way to fall and a certain way to roll and a certain way to do certain things.
Yep.
And that bending of the knees was very important.
That's one that's transferable to a lot of other industries. You got to bend your knees when you're picking up heavy stuff too. And in that industry with the sets and things, you did have to pick up some heavy things. So you got 3 really good life lessons out of there. Listen to what people don't say, because that's just as important as what they do say. And the other one, bend your knees, and give me that middle one again. Not as what you say is how you say it is just as important as what you say.
It's not what you say, but the way you say it.
The way you say it. Those are 3 really, really great lessons from your relationship with her. How much longer, how far out of high school were you when she passed? Because this is a relationship that spans several years.
Yes. I met her when I was either 18 or 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think 18. I was in junior high, 18. Because I graduated when I was 19.
Okay.
And she passed 17 years ago in 2003.
Okay, so that was a good long relationship.
Yeah.
Wow. Not a whole lot of us keep that kind of a relationship with a teacher. I know several who've kept it with friends and classmates. I don't think I've met anybody who kept the relationship with a teacher that long. That is significant.
Yeah, I used to visit her all the time. We used to go on vacation together.
Wow.
We had a really great relationship.
So you really got to be more like mother and daughter than.
Well, I used to say that she was my American mother.
Mm-hmm. Yep, mother and daughter. It's great that you don't have to, the person who gave you birth doesn't have to be the only mother that you have in life. You can have multiple mothers. And those are just people who sow into you with a positive word, good affirmations, and that teach you those significant and important life lessons. Now, while you were talking, you mentioned the Emmaus Project.
Yes.
And that, explain that. What is the Emmaus Project?
The Emmaus Retreat.
Retreat.
It's a retreat that starts on a Friday afternoon and it ends Sunday evening. And it's a personal encounter with Jesus Christ.
Mm.
And I can't tell you all that happens during the retreat because I would ruin it for you. Everybody lives it a different way. But one thing I can tell you is that we have them for women and for men. It's separate.
Mm-hmm.
So I work with the women, and everything I do with the church, I do in Spanish. Okay. I could do it in English, but I just everything I do related to my faith, I do it in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
In my church, they have it in English as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the women, when they come in on Friday afternoon, they look awful. I mean, they look like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders.
Wow.
Okay. And then on Sunday morning, they're all jumping and happy and their eyes are shining. And it's such a rewarding experience.
Wow.
For me.
Mm-hmm.
that I'm a part of the team, because to see these women come in that way and leave a totally different way is just so rewarding. So like I always say, when we do the retreat, there isn't any other place in the world that I would rather be. Not even the pyramids in Egypt, which I haven't gotten there yet, but it's on my list. It's on my list. Not even there. I enjoy that. There's so much joy in what you feel when you serve, because that's what we do. We're serving that weekend. These women that are participating, and there's just nothing like it.
Wow. So without giving it away, is it a time of, is it guided prayer? Is it guided Bible reading? Are there sermons being preached? And I know each person experiences it, but
there are all kinds of things.
Okay.
All kinds of things that happen during the retreat. And you really just have to live it. You have to live it.
Okay. Does it happen in a particular campsite? Does it happen more than once a year? How many retreats are typically scheduled?
We do it twice a year, and it's done in a retreat house.
Okay.
And you spend the weekend there, and that there's where everything happens.
Is the program in other states as well as? Are you still in Florida?
I'm in Miami.
Okay, you're still in Florida.
Yeah.
Does it take place in other states, or does anybody who wants to come have to come down to Florida?
It was born in St. Louis Catholic Church, which is the church that I happen to go to. Mm-hmm. It was born there many years ago in the 1980s, and it's all over the world.
Okay.
It went from Miami to Peru, and it just went all over. It should be in other states as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly right now, which I believe they have it in Georgia.
Is there a website people can go to find out?
I don't believe there is one website for the Emmaus Retreat, but you can find out from the local Catholic Church. Okay. And you don't need to be Catholic. Anybody can go. Anybody can go. I have a friend that is an Episcopalian, and she went and she came out a new person.
Wow.
She was very happy.
So really, really effective in the way that it gets people to connect with Jesus.
Yes. So
now a lot of people may not be familiar with the name Emmaus or the Emmaus Road. I know because, well, I'm a Christian and I love the Bible and I read a lot. But explain to our listeners, where that term, that name comes from, what its derivation is.
Is actually the retreat is based on that passage, on the Emmaus passage in Luke 24.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when two of the disciples are sad, and they're walking from Jerusalem to Emmaus, and Jesus shows up in the roadway and starts talking to them, asking them what's happening, what's going on. And he said, well, are you the only one that doesn't know what's been going on here? And he was talking to them and explaining the scriptures to them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get to their house and they break bread, that's when their eyes are opened and they realize who they've been talking to all this time.
Wow.
Now that happens when Jesus breaks the bread and gives it to them. And so, and after, at that point, then he disappears.
Mm.
And then they start walking back to Jerusalem to tell everybody. It's a great passage.
It is. It is. It is. There's a phrase in that passage that my pastor used to use after someone had preached and he came to give remarks. And he would say, did not our hearts burn within us?
Yes.
As that person expounded the scripture, those people said, did not our hearts burn within us as we walked along the way? And he opened the scripture up for us so that they could see Jesus from the Old Testament into the New Testament, into the crucifixion, and then in the resurrection. So it is a very, very beautiful passage. Hey, for anybody just now tuning in, I'm Cassandra, Dr. K Brown, the Tilted Fedora trainer, and I'm interviewing on Talk to Tuesday Conversation, Irma Matos. Fight Torres, I'm gonna get it. But Irma Matos, a friend of mine from the Power Voice community. Oh, that's something we hadn't talked about yet. The Power Voice is a program, Power Voice System is a program hosted by Les Brown, the most well-known motivational speaker in the world. And he teaches people how to tell their story, how to find their power voice, telling their story in a way that is interesting, intriguing, and that brings out the life lessons that they learned as they went through their journey. Irma, talk to me about your experience with the Power Voice system.
Well, there's so much to learn from Les. He's an incredible person. You give him a story and he just makes a movie out of it. It's like, it's amazing how he just takes a little bit of your story and he just transforms it into something bigger and better.
So you gave him the story that you basically gave us.
No, actually, I haven't spoken to him about my story yet.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No.
I have to get you to speak to him and hear how he shapes. It's amazing.
But I did send my 10-minute video.
Okay.
So
talk to us about your 10. Now, the 10-minute video, everyone in the Power Voice system is encouraged to do 2 videos. At the beginning, to do a 3-minute video, because a lot of people come to the program wanting to learn how to speak and wanting to overcome the fear of speaking. So doing this 10-minute video, the 3-minute and then the 10-minute video helps out a lot with that. The class is, it's held every Wednesday and it's 6:30, I think, 6:30 Eastern.
No, 7.
7 Eastern. So that's 6, it's 7 your time. So that would make it 6 Central. That's a tongue twister. 6 Central, 7 Eastern. And when you get the opportunity to actually speak with Mr. Brown, he will ask you, what's your story? Give me 1 or 2 points in your life that were turning points, that were significant. And then what did you learn from those points? And he literally turns your story into your 5 to 10-minute speech. And it's amazing how he does it. And the quotes that he can pull. Have you been working on memorizing quotes?
No, I haven't. No, not yet.
He is a quoting machine. I mean, quotes for everything. And he knows who said it. It's one thing to be able to repeat, something interesting that you hear. but to be able to remember who you heard it from, who is the one who said it. And he does that with every quote, with every quote. It's
And we're
amazing.
and we're also in the mastermind group.
Yes, we're in the Thinking into Results, a weekly mastermind that is helping out a lot. What are you getting from the mastermind?
Oh, gee, a lot. Um, I got you.
We got each other. We got each other out of the Power Voice and out of the mastermind.
Yes, no, it's
That'll
really,
be a lifelong connection.
it's really something. It's basically how to improve everything about your life, how to change your mind and just think positive all the time. And just by doing that one thing, it's just amazing how everything changes.
Yeah. It opens up your life it literally opens up your eyes to the good that's in the world and to the good that's already in your life. So that it's so easy to highlight the negative. And people do that so often. I mean, even with your situation coming in from Cuba as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, and being thrown into a really chaotic situation, 12 people living in one room for 9 days. And I'm grateful for you that it was only 9 days. Can't imagine. One night is, okay, 1 or 2 nights, it's fun. After that, it's chaotic. But there are a lot of people who would get lost in that situation and begin to throw a pity party for themselves. Going to a school where they didn't know anybody, the culture's different, the food's different, the language is different, you can't even communicate. And they would just say, I have a right to check out of life because I got dealt a bad hand. And you didn't do that. You chose to work with the hand that you were dealt and take advantage of the relationships that came into your life. And that the Thinking into Results helps to highlight that so that you don't sit around hosting your own pity party 24/7. It really pulls you out of the pity party stage. And it teaches one of the most significant things that it teaches that I remember on a daily basis is that we are responsible for our results. We're not necessarily responsible for everything that happens to us because life has some traumatic issues and events and COVID and people losing jobs and homes and all that kind of stuff. But we choose how we respond. And we choose not to react. We choose instead to respond. And when we take the time to respond, then we can look for the good that's in that situation. And we can look for a way to turn that situation to our good.
Absolutely.
To our good. We see the advantages. We see the opportunities. You seeing that the statement, I could feel my eyes shining when Miss McCluskey, when what is her name?
Muskie.
When Muskie is talking about the drama program and what you'll learn and what you'll get to do, what your experiences will be, I can see why she looked at you and said, I choose you. And how powerful those 3 words are. I choose you. Everybody wants to be wanted. Everybody needs to be wanted and wants to be needed. That was good. Everybody needs to be wanted and wants to be needed. So for her to see you and see your eyes shining and respond to that light in your eyes, because that's what it was. It was the light, the real Irma who was hidden in there somewhere, quiet, not talking. Here's this. And then Irma shines through and gets noticed. That for me is just, that is a tremendously wonderful, wonderful story. So what have you got on the horizon? How is it coming with the book? When do you think you'll publish it? Do you have a name? I'm going to hit you with all of those questions rapid fire.
Yeah, the name is Teaching a Noble Profession, Life Lessons to Inspire Your Greatness.
Teaching a Noble Profession, Life Lessons to Inspire Your Greatness. Greatness. Okay. What's your target date for getting it finished and into our hands?
Well, I will probably take about 10 weeks.
Okay.
More or less.
So we're looking early 2021, first quarter.
So I'm working on it.
All right, good deal. And Muskie's book, what's going on with that one?
That I spoke to my publisher about it, and I need to talk to him some more about that.
So two major projects in the works. That's good. Are you working on any other things? You're looking for, I know you're looking forward to the Emmaus retreats coming back.
Oh yeah, hopefully next year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It-
hopefully.
COVID messed up a whole lot of plans.
Yeah, yeah. We still have our meetings. We meet every Thursday night to keep up, with everything that's going on. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, we haven't been able to do the retreat because it's a hands-on
Mhm.
retreat. It's not something you can do through Zoom.
Right.
So hopefully we'll get back to it in next year in 2021.
Wow. I hope so. I'm hoping we get back to a number of things next year in 2021. Now that the vaccine has been released, I think the first two shots, the first two doses have been administered to two nurses, I believe. I believe it was in New York. Don't quote me on that. But I do know that the vaccine has now been approved and is in shipping now, going to different states. From what I've heard, I'm not even going to discuss what I've heard. That's not the goal of this show. it's, it's to get to know Irma. Irma, thank you. Again, this is, as we prepare to close, one last question for you. What books are you reading right now?
Well, let's see. I have here Stella Adler, The Art of Acting. That's one of the ones.
You're going back to those drama roots.
Well, it helps you to do this kind of thing that we're doing
Mhm.
right now. So yeah, I'm going to be reading that. I got You've Got to Be Hungry from Les Brown.
Okay.
I haven't read that. I have it right here. Psycho-Cybernetics.
Oh, wow.
That
You're
one,
reading some good ones.
it's there also waiting.
Mhm.
I have read quite a few lately. I read U Square,
Okay, that's one I don't know of.
very good. And some other ones. I don't have them right here with me, but the ones that our coach John Tallarico recommended.
Hmm. Yeah, and he recommends a lot of good ones. I've started on one. I'm reading one called The Search for Significance, which is, and it's not in here with me. It's probably in the living room.
And one that I read many, 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 many years ago, and all of this thinking into results as part of it is Think and Grow Rich
Wow.
from Napoleon Hill. Excellent book. And
Okay.
that's actually where
That's the
thinking into
basis of the class.
results comes from.
Yeah, that's the basis of the class. Think and Grow. I haven't read that one yet. I'm going to have to read it. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is Cassandra, Dr. K. Brown, the Tilted Fedora trainer. And I have gotten the wonderful opportunity to have a conversation today on Tuesday with Irma Matos. And Irma, how can, if people want to get in touch with you, find out more about your story, how can they reach out to you?
They can email me because my I haven't finished working on my website. It's in progress. So my email is Irma, IRMATOS 2000 at gmail.com. That's Irmatos 2000 at gmail.com.
All righty. You heard it for yourselves. If you got any questions for Irma, or you'd like to find out about her books, or even more about the Emmaus retreats, if that was interesting to you, reach out to her at irmatos2000 at gmail.com. IRMATOS 2000 at gmail.com. Got it.
You got it.
Got it.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much, Cassandra. I've enjoyed this immensely. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Thank you for being my guest, and we will talk to each other again on Monday.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Talk to you then.
Bye.
Bye. There we go.